Hockey is it's a real sport. It's, you know, arguably you could say it's the mixed martial arts of curling. What is your favorite hockey team, depressed person?
Montreal Canadiens. Rangers.
Look how quickly they become a mob. Soon they're all going to be fighting each other. Those are all ice hockey teams, am I wrong? Because I learned there are more than one kind of hockey, you know. Okay. There is field hockey, as well as air hockey. And of course, fire hockey. It's played on lava. And those are your 4 elemental hockeys. Or so we thought before there was science. Now we know there are hundreds of hockeys. All arrayed on the periodic table of hockeys. Even some hypothetical hockeys that have yet to be discovered, but we know they're out there. Did you know that there are 2 different sports called football? Apparently, jocks do not have any imagination. Hey, we made up a new sport. Well, let's call that one football too. Now, American football is the one you are probably most familiar with. I never understood the rules of this game until I was researching for this book. Many people tried to explain it to me, and I just could not understand it. Finally, I figured it out. So, football, if you're not familiar with it, is a game in which men shove each other back and forth for no reason. They do not choose when, or whom, or how to shove. Those decisions have all been made before them ahead of time. All they have to do is follow the instructions of how to deploy the meat of their bodies against the meat that is rushing at them. The object of the game, they do all of this in order to please one yelling old man on the sidelines. This man is called the coach, or angry surrogate father who will never be happy. And indeed, he will never be happy, because even if the footballers win, which they do by moving the ball back and forth across the field a certain number of times, and then ritually bathing the old man in what I can only presume is the finest urine-colored champagne, the coach's victory sneer will soon once again turn into a scowl, and a week later those same footballers will have to go out there and try to earn his love once more by hitting other people as hard as they want to hit him and themselves. Now, if someone had explained to me that this is simply a game of daddy issues and self-loathing, I would have watched. A football field, which is about the size of a single football field, is often referred to as a gridiron. Do any of you know why it is called a gridiron? You're wrong. It actually, when it was first played, the modern game, invented at Yale, it was originally played on a giant cast iron grid. A few feet above the lawn, and then they put sawdust underneath it. And that way the footballers' droppings could pass through and not interrupt the flow of the play. Now, soccer, the other football, requires no such special equipment to play. Really, to play soccer, all you need is a ball and 4 crummy, crumbled up windbreakers that you use to demarcate goals at either end of a green lawn in a public park that other people would like to use for a picnic. And then about 35 non-Americans to play. It's really the simplest sport in the world. Arguably, it should not even be called a sport. When you think about it, it is basically one ball away from the ancient non-sport of fast running back and forth. Even the ancient Mayans knew that this was not enough to constitute a sport. When they developed their ancient Mesoamerican ball game, which is considered to be the precursor to both soccer and basketball, impossibly, but it is, they specified that you could only advance the ball by hitting it with what? Your hips, exactly so. And if you're finding this difficult to picture in your mind, it is because it is physically impossible. And that is what makes the sport interesting. Now, other people in the world call soccer football in order to reinforce just what a banal game it is. You kick the ball with your foot. Get it? Americans, by contrast, when they developed American football, made sure it was a game that was played almost exclusively with the hands, using an object that could only be described as a ball by a mentally ill person. And the fact that the United States, that most sentimental and literal-minded of nations, could somehow out-ironicize urbane Europe in this way is itself ironic. And the fact that this perversion of the signifier and the signified should take place in the decidedly anti-intellectual field of sports makes it all trironic. And the fact that this trirony actually makes me kind of like American football is itself so surreal that I want to shoot myself in the face with a green apple. Hello, Magritte fans. I look forward to seeing the Magritte fans after the show and watching them be beat up by the Watership Down fans. Because that is my sport. Nerd on nerd violence. Come down to the fighting bits of Marine. Really? Okay. I also discuss, well, many people want to know how it is I became a deranged millionaire, and the answer is very simple. I had a lot of big ideas, dare I say, million-dollar ideas. And before I could put any of them into action, I won the lottery and got a job on Apple Computer Ads. And that did it. So I have all these ideas that are left over that I can just give away to you, because I don't need them anymore, and you seem nice. The biggest one was the one from my first book when I said, anyone wants $1 million, go out immediately and write a screenplay called All Animals versus All Humans. Right. The birds, but everything. The only reason I won't get into this one, because it's too much work, the only thing that's hard about it is how does it last longer than 45 seconds? My other big idea, penny farthing motorcycles. Because regular motorcycles are not dangerous enough. And this one that I'm going to share with you now, it's a reality television show. Now look, I know there are a lot of reality television shows out there. And I hate to break this to you though, they're not real. No. A lot of the situations are staged. They use editing to make normal people seem somewhat less hateful for television. All of the food they eat is wax. For insurance reasons, I suppose. If you've ever seen the TLC channel, the Tender Loving Care channel, you've probably seen shows like Little People in a Big World, or Little People Living Together, Little People Solving Crimes, Little People Rescuing Pit Bulls. That one felt like it came out of a bingo ball. You know what I mean? Hundreds of premises. 2. Hate to break it to you, most of those little people, normal sized, they've been made to seem like little people through a combination of false perspective and surgery. Again, for insurance reasons, I suppose. But my show is going to be different. Because my show is not going to be afraid to get real. We're going to deal with some serious topics. We're going to find people who are really struggling in their lives, and they might be struggling with depression or substance abuse. Maybe they can't stop spending money on figurines or cruises. Maybe there's someone's grandmother who doesn't know how to use the internet. Maybe they're someone from another reality television show who was forced to become a little person for the TLC channel. Whatever the case may be, You will be amazed and heartbroken by their stories. And you will wonder how it is possible that they could ever get their lives together and start being productive again. You'll think it's not possible. And that's when I come in. Usually through the window. We think it'll be through a window. We think I'll either smash through a plate glass window, scaring them, or reveal that I've been living in their walls for 9 months. Watching them through the eyes in their oil paintings. But either way, they'll be very surprised to see me. And they'll be like, John Hodgman, you're on television. You must be here to solve all my problems. And I will say, no way. That's your job, surgically altered little person. I can help you, but you're going to have to do the hard work. But I promise you this, together, we'll do it. And that's when they start crying. I hire someone to hug them. And then we put a bag over their heads and put them into the back of a van and drive them to a town they've never been to before, where they can begin an entirely new life as competitive hoarders.